Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Clutch Mode Podcast. One brain, all the games. I apologize in advance if my audio and or video cuts out at one point. I'm at a very rugged cabin here in Cedro Woolley, Washington, at the end point of my trip. And the Wi-Fi is not very well. But we're just gonna push through and do what we can do.
Exactly, because we're troopers. We're super troopers.
We are troopers.
That's right. But that's okay. We're gonna do the best we can.
Yeah, as always, we are a proud member of Boston Sports Zone. Be sure to follow them on X and YouTube at @sportszone_BOS. Also, make sure to check out our merch store on Etsy. Support the podcast and support the content and creators on Boston Sports Zone. And as always, follow us on X, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at Clutch Mode Pod.
That's right. Look at this beautiful selection of beautiful shirts, including Clutch Mode merch that you can get at our Etsy store. So make sure you check it out.
Yeah.
All right. So let's kick it off with the week in review.
Yeah, still the dog days of summer we're going through, so no football, sadly. But we are getting some sorts of news in the football world. Free agent defensive back Rasul Douglas has signed a one-year deal with the Washington Commanders this week, worth up to $3.8 million. He is joining a strong Washington secondary, which includes the likes of Percy Butler, Amick Robertson, and Super Bowl champ Akella Witherspoon. Also, the Indianapolis Colts will induct legendary kicker and former Patriots Super Bowl champ and Pro Football Hall of Famer Adam Vinatieri into the Ring of Honor on October 18th, 2026 versus the Tennessee Titans.
And hopefully the Patriots will one day follow suit and also induct him into their Hall of Fame. And he'll be a three-time Hall of Famer.
I mean, it's coming. We can all sense it.
He's gonna. We could have a whole conversation about Hall of Fame and who should get into Patriots Hall of Fame and who should get in and what order. But there's a logjam right now of really great, exceptional players from the dynasty, and it's tough. Well, Gronk is
yeah, he's coming. Yeah, Gronk is going to be there.
Anyway,
and also, the NFL announced some notable changes this year, including the shortening of the period between an NFL scouting combine and the start of free agency, which is for a full week in 2026. In 2027, there will be only one day between the end of the combine, March 8th, and the start of the negotiation period, March 9th. The start of the new league year begins 2 days later on March 11th at 4 p.m. Eastern. Other notable dates include August 30th as the 53-man roster cut-down day, November 10th as the 2026 trade deadline, and March 21st to 24th as the annual league meeting. Some notable upcoming dates include July 15th, 4 p.m. Eastern is the deadline for any club that designated a franchise player to sign that player to a multi-year contract or extension. After this date, a player can only sign a one-year contract with his prior club for the upcoming season, and that contract cannot be extended until after the club's last regular season game. Also, look out for July 22nd, 4 p.m. EST. The signing period ends for transition players with outstanding tenders. After this date and until 4 p.m. Eastern, on the Tuesday following the 10th weekend of the regular season, prior club has exclusive negotiating rights. And saving the best for last, we're just over 2 weeks away from the start of training camp and not a moment too soon. Rookies will report July 21st and veterans on the 24th, with training camp kicking out the next day, the July 25th.
That's right. I can't wait. I'm like a little person in the desert, thirsty and starving for football. I can't wait for it to come back.
I know. And also we got the NBA to look forward to.
Yeah, that's right. Moving on to the NBA. What do we got in the week in review?
Hall of Famer member Jerry Colangelo has been announced as part of an investment group pursuing an expansion team in Las Vegas that they would call the Las Vegas Jacks. Colangelo is the former owner of Phoenix Suns. His group includes a brand new state-of-the-art arena on the Vegas Strip.
By the way, if they do, go ahead.
If they do call them the Jacks, I think their mascot should be named the Jack of all trades. And It should be like the little Jack on the card.
I'm just curious, how many professional teams are they going to jam into like one however many square mile
City.
radius Las Vegas is. I mean, for crying out loud.
I mean, they already got the Golden Knights and the Raiders and whatever their
And
WNBA
the
team is.
And
Well,
don't forget
soon,
the
eventually,
and don't forget
someday.
the A's. When they move
The
there,
who?
the A's.
Yeah, no, I said eventually
Oh,
when their
sorry.
ownership gets
That's
gets their poop grouped.
That's right. Moving on.
Yeah, a lot of free agency signings this week. Restricted free agent Quinton Post signed a 3-year, $30 million contract offer sheet with the Grizzlies. Free agent Rui Hachimura agreed to a 2-year, $28 million deal with the Clippers. The Sacramento Kings waived veteran DeMar DeRozan, making the 6-time All-Star one of the top free agents. Cavaliers All-NBA star Donovan Mitchell agreed on a 4-year, $273 million maximum contract extension, which includes a player option for the 2030-31 season and a full trade kicker. Free agent center Kevin Looney agreed on a 1-year, $3.9 million deal with the Lakers. Free agent center Mobamba has agreed to a 2-year deal to return to the Jazz. The Pacers signed Larry Nance Jr. to a veteran's minimum contract. The Pistons made a trade. They traded Karis LeVert and 2 second-round picks to the Milwaukee Bucks for Taurean Prince and Gary Harris. Detroit will create a trade exception for the deal and savings, while the Bucks require LeVert and pick up assets. Free agent Chris Middleton agreed on a 3-year, $17.6 million deal with the Wizards via sign and trade. Dallas is sending Middleton to the Wizards via sign and trade as part of a larger 6-team deal that includes in total Dallas, Washington, the Clippers, Detroit, Milwaukee, and Memphis. It involves previously agreed upon deals such as sending John Collins, Gary Harris, and Taurean Prince, Isaiah Stewart to Memphis, Santi Aldama to Dallas, and Karis LeVert to Milwaukee. By the way, speaking of Milwaukee, looks like there's going to be some beef with Tyler Hero and Miami's Bam Adebayo. Yeah, Bam Adebayo. Yeah.
There's beef in the streets.
Fresh beef, yeah.
Fresh beef. Well, it's the best kind of beef.
I mean, it just happened today, so yeah.
Right.
We'll see how that We'll see how that plays out on the court.
That's right. Part of the they got into fisticuffs.
Literally. Yeah.
Literal fisticuffs.
Hero's got a shiner.
He does.
And also as part of the elaborate 16 trade, the Wizards sent veteran D'Angelo Russell, a future second-round pick and a future second-round pick swap to the Grizzlies.
Now, you would think that was the biggest deal, but no, there is an even bigger deal.
San Antonio Spurs Victor Wembanyama, an all-star in the making and a future Hall of Famer in the making, has signed a 5-year, $252 million maximum rookie-scale contract extension with a player option in his 5th season. Wemby decided on the 25% maximum instead of the 30% supermax after he and San Antonio went through multiple frameworks over the past few weeks.
And I think that's a really good move. There's a history of Spurs players that have taken similar deals where they like to free up money for the team in order to make the team better. And I think that really says a lot about his role and his leadership, his emerging leadership on the team, and what he wants. He wants to see this team be successful.
Mm-hmm. That I wouldn't put it past him. Yeah.
You wouldn't put it past him to want to see the team successful?
Yeah, I guess. Retired Raptors player Kyle Lowry signed a multi-year deal to become an NBA on Prime studio analyst. So we wish Lowry good luck with that.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks announced that star guard and MVP Jalen Brunson, after playing in the finals with a tendon injury in his wrist, underwent a successful surgery, but is expected to be fully ready for the start of the regular season. Meanwhile, in Boston, the Celtics waived Delano Banton, which dropped them below the luxury tax threshold. They currently have a complete roster with 14 players, and staying below the tax all season will reset the repeater tax penalty.
That's a lot of R's.
The Celtics also released their schedule for the NBA Summer League with players including rookies Chris Senac Jr. and Dylan Mitchell, in addition to Hugo Gonzalez and Amari Williams, among others you may not know of, like Nick Pringle.
Oh, I love that. That's a great name. Once you pop, you can't stop.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. And speaking of Summer League, the Celtics won their first Summer League game today in Toronto, beating them 83-80 in overtime. Senac
Yes.
Jr. played 29 minutes, 14 points, 5 and 13 for field goals.
5 for 13 from the field goal range, 2 for 4 from 3 points and 10 rebounds.
Mitchell played 26 minutes, scored 4 points, 2 to 6 from the field goal,
2 for
and 3
6.
rebounds.
Yep, 2 for 6. Yep. And were there any other notables?
Yes, Amari Williams played. He played with 29 minutes, 23 points, 7 and 9 on the field goal, 13 rebounds and 2 assists.
Yes. Now, what was exciting was that Senac shot a corner 3 to take the Celtics to overtime, and that was probably the highlight of the entire game because that game was hard to watch. I mean, it is Summer League after all. We're not, you got to take your expectations, you lower them. And then when you think they're low, you lower them some more because they were, in the first half, they were 7 for 45 from the field. 3 of their makes were dunks and they were blocked 11 times. It was rough. It was rough to watch.
Yeah, but hey, don't call it a comeback, right?
Well, you won't call it a comeback because they won.
Exactly.
All right. What are we moving on to the NHL?
Yes. The NHL announced that their 2026-27 regular season schedule will be released on July 16th. For the first time, teams will play an expanded 84-game regular season schedule that features 2 extra divisional matchups. Meanwhile, the Providence Bruins released their regular season schedule this week. They will kick off their regular season October 2nd. With their home opener against the Utica Comets, who are the Devils' AHL affiliate. Meanwhile, the Calgary Flames signed recently acquired defenseman Simon Nemec to a 5-year contract worth $36.25 million. On Monday, Nemec will count $7.25 million against the salary cap through the 2030-31 NHL season. Also, the Anaheim Ducks had until Friday, July 10th, which is today, to match or decline the Philadelphia Flyers' 5-year, $90 million offer sheet that tendered restricted free agent center Leo Carlson. However, Anaheim did match them and signed him to a massive deal, which makes him the highest paid player in the entirety of the NHL.
That's a pretty big deal.
One-ups Minnesota's Kirill Kaprizov, who is currently at that record. So, yeah. All right, next up, the MLB.
Let's move on to the MLB.
Yeah, longtime ace and future Hall of Famer Justin Verlander had announced his retirement this week from Major League Baseball. But don't look now, but the Red Sox have won 7 games in a row. They swept the Angels. I know, yeah. They swept the Angels and the White Sox this past week, and they currently have a 1-game record over the Mets in this series.
Yes. Boy, if I were to tell you right now that I thought that the Red Sox would be winning 7 games in a row, I would have been like,
and counting,
and counting. And I have high hopes that they're going to go into the All-Star break on a high when they'll have a 9-game record. But
hopefully.
I mean, it's been a great 7 games. Let's kind of run through them a little bit.
Yes, in his first outing in Anaheim, Sonny Gray upped his record to 10-1 when 6.0 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run earned, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. Not to mention Contreras crushed a 421-foot 3-run homer in the first inning, and Gonzalez added a 2-run shot in the 5th. So close to Contreras getting a grand slam,
That's
though.
right.
One base away.
Yeah, and the next game, Ranger Suarez pitched 2.2 innings. He had 4 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks, and 2 strikeouts. But he had to leave the game with left abductor and groin tightness. Jaron Duran hit his 13th home run of the year.
IL.
That's right. He's on the 15-day IL, and we will get to it. Spoiler alert! But that puts him probably out of being in the All-Star game. So Jaron Duran, that's right. He hit his 13th home run of the year, a 2-run shot to tie the game in the 3rd inning, following a horrific fielding error by Zach Neto, the Angels shortstop. Wilson Contreras crushed a ball 446 feet for a 3-run blast to give Boston the lead for good, and Aroldis Chapman
That might
picked
be
up
his
his
furthest
17th.
homer lengthwise.
That is a long-ass homer. Then we went on and we started kicking some White Sox butt.
Yeah, it was a Sox battle, yeah. For whom the bell tolls, Peyton
Sox on
Toll.
Sox.
Yeah, Peyton Toll, for whom the bell tolls.
Peyton Tolley.
Yeah,
Don't
but
forget about
still.
that E.
Yeah, for whom the bell tolls, he had 6.0 innings pitched during his game, 2 hits, no runs earned, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. Meanwhile, Monasterio sparked the offense with a solo homer in the second inning. 2 batters later, Rafaela launched a 2-run shot, which was his 8th of the year, to put the game out of reach early on.
And in the next game, Jake Bennett had another great outing. He gave up 3 hits. He pitched 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Sung Chae Chung, he drove in runs with a pair of clutch RBI singles. Narvaez tacked on an insurance run with an RBI knock into the alley, and both Contreras and Siegler both left the game with injuries. Now, this is sad. It makes me sad.
But by the way, they're both okay now, and Contreras is currently serving his rescinded 5-game suspension.
That's right. He had his 5-game suspension reduced. His 7-game suspension.
It was 7 to 5.
And he will be out for the Mets series and 1 game of the Rays series.
Yeah, he'll be back in the 2nd game of next Friday's doubleheader.
That's right. So what happened to Contreras?
Yeah. He fouled the ball hard directly at the top of his left foot near his ankle. While he finished the at-bat and initially went out to play first in the bottom of the inning, he was noticeably limping heavy and quickly signaled to the dugout that he couldn't continue. Interim coach Tracy stated Contreras was doing better to the game and moving enough that no x-rays were needed. He was reevaluated.
So, yeah, he was reevaluated. And he's not going to because he has a suspension.
Which is good. He can rest his injury and get back to being 110%.
That's right.
Meanwhile, just 1 pitch after Contreras got injured, a wild pitch rolled to the backstop, and Siegler, who was on third, sprinted home to score, but had a violent collision at home plate with Red Sox catcher and former Red Sox, if I'm not mistaken, Kyle Teal. Teal went in knees first and landed hard on Siegler's upper body, which kind of seems intentional, but I don't know. Siegler remained down the field for several minutes in considerable pain and was bleeding from his arm before he got helped off.
Yes, and we know that he was doing better. And how do we know he's doing better? Because, spoiler alert, he hit a homer.
Today, so. One of many. One of multiple.
That's right.
Yeah, he was doing better in the clubhouse post-game, thankfully, and he also underwent a reevaluation.
So,
Meanwhile, the Sox won.
Yep.
The Red Sox beat the White Sox 2-1, completing a 3-game sweep and extending their winning streak to 6 games at the time. Patrick Sandoval returned since his Tommy John surgery in 2024. Welcome back to Sandy. The bullpen combined for a 4.2 innings of scoreless, 2-hit relief to secure the win. Meanwhile, Sandoval's first game back, he had 4.1 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run earned, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts with an ERA of 2.08, which is probably as perfect as you can get.
Yeah, that's pretty good for not having pitched for so long.
Yeah, like almost 2 years.
That's right.
Meanwhile, Durbin broke a scoreless tie in the 4th with a 2-run homer.
All right, and last but not least, the first game of the Mets series, the Sonny Gray had another great outing, raising his record to 11-1.
By the way, this game was delayed because of the plane problems.
You stole my thunder. Yes. So of course, as we all know, the Red Sox got trapped in the Windy City. They had a plane problem. Thursday night, and then they had another separate plane problem on Friday, and
can't have nice things.
That's right. They got to the ballpark with about an hour and a half to spare, but MLB pushed the game time start back by
40 minutes.
40 minutes just to give them a chance to get settled in. And you know what? That delay did not hurt them in the slightest, because Gray went 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. He is unbeaten in 13 consecutive starts, and his 2.54 ERA is the second best in the American League. And it is a crime that this man is not in the All-Star game.
I mean, I'm surprised they didn't replace him with when Suarez got knocked out.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. They should have.
Probably Scooble's better, if I had to guess, is number 1.
But
at any rate, Siegler and Abreu both had 2-run homers, which contributed to the Sox 6-2 win. Don't look now, but the Red Sox are now a game and a half outside the 3rd wildcard spot and have a 35.6% chance to make the playoffs right now.
Considering they were at 8%, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think Tracy's turning this team around.
Yep.
Anyway, left-hand pitcher Eduardo Rivera has been called to start the next game on Saturday, tomorrow. And he over Brian Bayo.
That's right. They were going to bring up Bayo, but they thankfully decided against it.
I was going to say, yeah. Meanwhile, a bunch of Sox are currently in the All-Star Championship.
That's right. Oh, there goes my cat.
Suarez. Yeah, Ranger Suarez, who's unable to compete, so we'll see.
That's unfortunate, but it was his second career All-Star nod, and it's too bad that he won't be able to make it. But
there's always next year. Meanwhile, we will be seeing closer Aroldis Chapman, first baseman Wilson Contreras, and center fielder Cedar Rafaela, who is a late addition.
He is an injury replacement for Aaron Judge. All right.
Contreras will be replacing Vladimir Guerrero for Toronto.
That is correct. Let's see. And so we are right on the edge of the MLB All-Star Week. And when is that going to be taking place?
Next week, July 10th. July 10th is today. I think it's next week from Monday to Wednesday probably.
And it's going to be at Citizens Bank Park.
In Philly, yeah.
Okay. So they're gonna start off.
Fanatic.
That's right. They're gonna start off with the Swingman Classic. Then they're gonna have the All-Star Futures Game, showcasing baseball's top prospects, and then they're gonna have
Monday the Home Run Derby.
The Home Run Derby. And then they're gonna have. That's right. Contreras is gonna be participating in the Home Run Derby,
hoping he wins.
That's right. And then they're gonna have the All-Star Red Carpet Show, followed by the All-Star Game, which will be on Fox, live from Citizens Bank Park.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to miscellaneous sports, starting with Major League Soccer. New England Revolution midfielder Carlos Gil was named to the All-Star roster. Revs action will pick up again July 22nd after the World Cup game when they face Chicago. Also, the Revs had a friendly game with the Philadelphia Union, defeating them 3-2. This is their third tune-up match this summer as the team prepares to resume action on July 22nd.
All right. What's next?
The PWHS Boston Fleet have announced they will be permanently moving to Boston University's Agganis Arena after spending 3 seasons in Lowell. Also, they'll be having their first summer development session next week at the Boston Sports Institute, with 2 sessions being announced July 17th and 19th and July 31st to August 2nd. Additionally, the team's newest defender, Amanda Boulier, will be doing a meet and greet at 261 at Para Maria at the Envoy Hotel on the 16th from 6 to 7:30 p.m.
So definitely get out there and support the Boston Fleet. They deserve it because they are a great team.
And the Women's Pro Baseball League, a brand new league, was launched this week with 4 teams.
That's right.
San Francisco Fire Rebels, sorry. The LA Queens, the New York Heights, and the Boston Hunters. They will have a 15-game season, which kicks off on August 2nd, with all games being played at Roberts Stadium in Springfield, Illinois, for whatever reason.
As far as I know, the only place you'll be able to see these games so far is on YouTube. So definitely check it out. I think it's a great thing, and it's always good. You can never have too many teams to root for in the Boston area.
Yeah, hopefully it'll grow to more teams if ratings are good. Meanwhile, in the NASCAR Cup Series, Chase Briscoe won his first race of the season after holding off his teammate for Joe Gibbs, Christopher Bell, until the checkered flag at Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet. The series will now head south for the Atlanta Summer Race and Echo Park Speedway. Meanwhile, on Independence Weekend, the Monster Jam World Finals took place this weekend at Salt Lake City's Rice-Eccles Stadium.
Very cool.
Brandon Tolochka and Zombies stunned his fellow competitors in the two-wheel skills challenge by winning the competition with a score of 8.313 by doing a moonwalk into a spinneroonie, which is turning the truck 90 degrees on one wheel. This is Tolochka's first world title, as well as the first world championship for the Zombie Monster truck. Zach Garner also surprised the field by winning the high jump championship in Wildside with a total height of 27.248 feet. This new title makes Garner a two-time world champ after winning the 2024 World Racing Championship. Meanwhile, Tyler Menega had a bit of a rough start in Gravedigger, but ended up and he broke a wheel off in freestyle, was unable to get enough time to be able to get scored, but he turned his luck around the next day by winning the World Racing Championship. This is Menega's third world title and his first World Racing Championship, and he's also the third Team Gravedigger driver to win the World Racing Championship after Dennis Anderson and Adam Anderson. Finally, Tristan England and JCB Digatron also won his own third title after winning the World Freestyle Championship with a score of 9.097 after completing what's known as a kahuna flip into a backflip, into a moonwalk, and then he made a reverse jump.
That's pretty cool. Let's move on to FIFA.
Oh, wait, we got one more thing.
Well, no, let's move on to FIFA.
Contest. We got the hot dog eating contest.
That's right.
Also took
I forgot about that.
Weekend. Joey Chestnut and Mickey Sudo were successfully able to defend their titles. Sudo ate 38 3/4 dogs. Chestnut ate 66 hot dogs, which is a little less than last year, but I think he's slacking a little bit, but he won anyway. It's his 18th title. Now he can move on to FIFA.
Oh, God. In the round of 16 action, Norway beat Brazil 2-1. England beat Mexico 3-2. England's Jarrell Quansah was handed a two-match ban by FIFA in the 54th minute. He executed a reckless high sliding tackle. His studs went over the ball and directly into the shin and ankle of Mexico defender Jesus Gallardo. He got a red card and was ejected. And usually the standard penalty is 1 game suspension. However, FIFA, the disciplinary committee, looked at the footage and they classified it as a serious foul play, and they raised it to 2 games. Of course, Belgium absolutely just embarrassed and demolished the U.S. and eliminated them.
All politics aside, that was not a good game.
No, it was not. It was very bad. It was their worst performance in the World Cup. They were outmanned and outplayed the entire game. Balogun had no impact. Pulisic left the game before the half with a hairline fracture in his leg. I mean, they just, from the jump, they were terrible.
They handed our butts to us, yeah.
That's right. Spain beat Portugal 1-0, and Argentina beat Egypt 3-2. And Egypt suggested that there was match fixing and favoritism after one of their goals was disallowed.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past the FIFA because
it's very
Lionel Messi. Yeah, Messi is like the Mahomes of the World Cup right now. He's like the Mahomes of the World Cup. This Messi.
Switzerland won 4-3 on penalty kicks versus Colombia, and
then the
Norway,
quarterfinals happened.
Yes, the quarterfinals. France beat Morocco 2-0. And then coming up on Saturday, Norway faces England at 5, and Argentina takes Switzerland at 9.
Spain and Belgium.
No way, I won't forget. Spain, of course, beat Belgium. And
2-1. So it's a little karma for Belgium beating us.
That's right. But that was the first goal that Spain had given up in the entire tournament. So how about that?
That's pretty good. They're definitely favorites to win the whole shooting match.
That's right. I think it's going to be between Spain and France. Anyway, it's time to move on to
Know Your Numbers.
Know Your Numbers. As always, Know Your Numbers is brought to you by Numbers. Know them.
No. Yeah. Starting off with the Celtics' new free agency numbers. Mitchell Robinson will wear number 4 for the Celtics, last worn by Vucevic. Conley will wear 40. Mike Conley will wear 44 for the Celtics, last worn by Max Scholga in 2026. Paul George will be wearing Ron Harper's 13. Not sure what Harper will be switching to, but we'll see in the coming weeks, I'm sure. Jaylen Brown will unfortunately be wearing number 7 for Philly, last worn by Kyle Lowry in 2026, which frankly is wrong. It's wrong, but we're just going to move on. Number 7 in Miami will also be worn by Giannis Antetokounmpo, last worn by Kelly Ware in 2026. Meanwhile, the Bucks will be retiring the number 34 in the organization, which I think is well-deserved. Anthony Simons will wear number 5 for the Sixers, last worn by Quentin Grimes. Tyler Hero was originally going to wear 42, but now will be wearing 11 in Milwaukee, last worn by Gary Harris. Jaime Jaquez Jr. will be wearing 24 for Milwaukee, last worn by Cam Thomas. Andre Drummond will be wearing number 0 for the Knicks, last worn by DeLon Wright. Quentin Grimes will be wearing number 5 for the Lakers, last worn by DeAndre Ayton. Isaiah Stewart will wear 28 for the Grizzlies, that's worn by Charles Bassey. Ryan Rupert will wear 12 for the Sixers, that's worn by Trendon Watford. Marcus Sasser will be wearing number 8 for the Mavs, that's worn by A.J. Johnson. Kyle Anderson will be lucky 13 for the Raptors, that's worn by Jordan Nwora. Kelly Oubre Jr. will wear 10 for the Pacers, that's worn by Ray J. Dennis. Santi Aldama will wear 34 for Dallas, that's worn by Kemba Walker. Sandro Mamukelashvili will be wearing 54 for the Lakers, that's worn by Kwame Brown. Walker Kessler will wear 14 for the Lakers. Bruce Thornton will wear number 2 instead of 3 for the Rockets. That's worn by Dorian Finney-Smith. Jaden Hardy will be wearing 7 for the Lakers. That's worn by Gabe Vincent. Moritz Wagner will be wearing 13 for Brooklyn. That's worn by Trey Scott. Ryan Conwell will wear number 4 for the Heat. That's worn by Isaiah Stevens. Bobby Portis will be wearing number 95 for the Heat. This is the first time 95 will be worn on a Miami jersey. Josh Okogie will wear 21 for the Jazz. That's worn by Bez Mabang. Kella Ware will be wearing number 9 for the Bucks. Kasparas Jakushionis will be wearing 25. Nate Ament will be wearing 15 for the Bucks. Ryan Conwell will move number 4 to give it the 7 to Giannis. And also in the NHL, Akira Schmid will be wearing number 40 for the Florida Panthers for the upcoming season as the franchise's new goalie.
Woo!
That is no
that was a lot of numbers. My goodness. All right. Well, we've waited all this time, and now it's time to get to the one question. This week, the one question is, have the Patriots done enough to address the offensive line? All right. So before we get into the individual positions on the offensive line, I think that we should probably start by talking about what this line looked like a year ago, because the 2025 O-line was, I think, probably one of the biggest single season turnarounds from the previous season. They went from being absolutely bottom dwellers in the league to a top 10 pass protection group. PFF had them ranked at 86.5 pass blocking efficiency in the regular season and tied for 6th best in football. And ESPN's win rate metrics had them 12th in run block win rate and 13th in pass block win rate. And only 11 linemen played for them all year. And 3 guys, Onwenu, Bradbury, and Moses, had more than 1,000 snaps each.
By the way, Bradbury's a Bear, but Onwenu and Moses still sticking around.
That's right.
But then the playoffs happened, unfortunately.
Yes. And then, unfortunately, the playoffs happened and the wheels just fell off.
Yeah, Drake May got sacked 68 times between regular and postseason combined. He was pressured on 38.7% of his playoff dropbacks, 21 sacks in 4 playoff games. Seattle had 6 sacks in the Super Bowl alone. And Seattle's front basically ran an exotic pressure clinic against the 2 rookies on the left. By the way, there's rumors circulating that somebody leaked some info on to Coach Mike McDonald A lot of
All
people are
right.
saying it's Brady, but that's another topic for
So,
another day.
well, okay, no, not necessarily. So basically what people are saying is that Mike McDonald had an interview and he basically said somebody who was significant, gave him inside information that basically made it so that they knew exactly what the offense was doing, gave away the offensive
Yeah, I
line's
was gonna
tells,
say.
gave away, we don't even
It's
know
just
the extent of the information that they
a
gave
lot of
away.
people are saying
Now,
it's Brady.
a lot of people are saying it's Brady, although I will say Zach Gelb, I believe, came out and said that
Yeah,
he circled back around with McDonald, asked him specifically if it was Brady, and he said no, it was not. So
but I
feel,
don't
and
believe
it's
it.
I don't necessarily believe it either. I think
Yeah.
that I mean, what are you going to get? You're not going to get anything from Mayo.
Yeah,
He already
you're
said it
not
wasn't
gonna.
Belichick. What's Mayo going to give you? Mayo will give you the keys to doing a shitty job, but Mayo's not going to give you any offensive
Yeah, I was
assistance
gonna
when
say, yeah.
they didn't even have an offense to put together
I don't
when he
know,
was
man.
coach. So to
I
me,
don't
and
know.
I think
It's
that if
just
you
a weird
literally look
situation.
McDonald in the face and said, "Is it whoever it is?" and you say the right answer, he's going to be like, "Nope, it wasn't that person."
He's like, I'm not gonna tell you.
He's not going to tell you because then you know what happens? It opens up a huge can of worms. It makes him
Yep.
susceptible to being investigated by the league, and
Not to
he is
mention
never going to.
a rescindance of the Super Bowl trophy, all the rings and stuff.
No joke. If that actually, which I'm sure will never happen, but that actually is something that
Because
could possibly happen. But anyway,
yeah.
we
Anyway,
digress. So,
yeah.
what were we? I'm like,
Yeah.
where
Oh
were
yeah.
we?
So
Okay, the front office
anywho,
looked at the line and they said that
yeah.
they've been good for 17 weeks, but they said, but we cannot let stand what happened in the Super Bowl. So they
Yep.
traded Garrett Bradbury to Chicago. They moved Jared Wilson from left guard to center. They signed Elijah Vera Tucker to play left guard. They traded up in the first round for Caleb Lomu. So 3 of the 5 spots on the offensive line changed on a line that was already top 10.
Onwenu and Moses.
That's right. So you can see how serious they are about looking at the Super Bowl and saying, we have got to make improvements.
They're motivated, yeah.
Work. Yeah. So yes.
There's also another factor we can't overlook. Everyone talks about the pass protection, and not enough attention was paid to the run game, which has been a legitimate problem for 2 straight years. In 2024 was under Mayo, and 2024 was completely broken. From week 6 of that season on, Patriots running backs average 1.8 yards per carry as a group. Backs were not getting hit on the backfield runoff after handoff. And the blame was on the line and the play calling, not the runners, as it should have been.
I definitely think the line had a huge factor to play in how poor the run game was. The blocking was not there, and you saw that neither Mondre and Travion looked like they had looked previously, even though I think if you look at 2025, it's like better superficially, but I would argue that a lot of it was built on Travion Henderson's breakaway speed. He averaged like 5.1 yards per carry, which seems really good until you look at the fact that almost 40% of his rushing yards came on 15 plus yards. So if you take out those breakaways, then his average only goes down to like 3.2 yards per carry. And that is definitely not a functioning run game, and that is a broken run game. So the blocking grades kind of say the same thing. Wilson had a 42.8 run blocking grade and was 75th among guards. Bradbury had times of the season where he was one of the worst run blocking centers. Campbell was 39th among tackles. And only the right side was the only side where you got any kind of blocking that would give you anything behind on Moses. And in the last game of the season, the running backs carried 13 times for 42 yards, 3.2 a carry. Again, they just were not able to run the ball behind the left side and the center for like 2 years.
Yeah, to me, that makes you look at this offseason differently. Because the moves weren't just about pass protection. One of Vera Tucker's specialties is generating movement in the run game. His 2024 run blocking grade in New York was 76.3, which was 12th among guards. Moving Jared Wilson to center takes them out of the one-on-one drive blocks that killed him last year. And they paid real money to get a legitimate fullback, Reggie Gilliam. 3 years, $12 million with half of that guaranteed. You don't do that unless McDaniels decided the run game was missing physicality. not just blocking. I mean, granted, they had Westover, but
Yes, but
anyway.
this is a level up from that. I mean, they have decided
Yeah,
that they
Westover's got
need
to
that
work. Got to
they need
work his
that
way
full
up.
block.
Yeah,
They need that full block, and Josh
yeah,
McDaniels loves him a fullback.
yeah. He uses the fullback in 21 personnel to force defenses into heavier base packages, creating structural mismatches for downhill lid ISO runs. He then exploits that aggressive run key aggression through hard play action fakes, opening deep passing windows over the middle and linking the fullback into space.
So I guess we say, have the Patriots done enough to address the O-line? Because there is a version of this where you could say, yeah, it's fixed. Look what they did. They moved Wilson. They got rid of Bradbury. They brought in Vera Tucker. So and
Don't
the
forget
right
they have
side
Ben
was
Brown if something happens.
that's right. But there's a
We can play
version
guard and
where
center.
it's like there's a version where they say like you're shuffling decks chairs on the deck of the Titanic. You're just moving risk around. So let's go through position by position, and we will start with left tackle first. So Will Campbell's
one
rookie
of the
year.
sophomores, Will Campbell.
Yes, Will Campbell's rookie year was a genuinely just a huge test. If you look at the regular season, he was good. It was like a tale of two seasons, the regular season and the postseason. So he was good in the regular season. He was really good. He was better than I expected, honestly, given all of the arm length, short arms.
I mean, he was fourth overall, so I mean, you kind of had to expect that.
And PFF gave him a 72.6 overall grade, which ranked 32nd of 89 qualified tackles as a rookie. His 76.1% pass blocking grade was 23rd at the position, and across 782 snaps, he allowed 26 pressures with 5 sacks and 5 hits. He led the entire Patriots rookie class in PFF wins above replacement and graded out 3rd among all rookie tackles before he hurt his knee. He was allowing pressures on just 5.5% of his pass blocking snaps. And that is definitely for a rookie and a 21-year-old, nothing to throw throw anything at. So nothing to sneeze at. Yeah. There you go.
But if you look at the postseason, he was a liability.
Oh my goodness, was he a liability? Should he probably have come back from his MCL? I mean, first of all, you got to give him props for coming back because he wanted to play for the team. He wanted to show that he could be a contributor. Yes, but he was, and I don't think there's any way to sugarcoat it. He was bad. He was bad. 29 pressures allowed in 4 playoff games. That is the most by any player in a single postseason since Next Gen Stats started tracking. The Super Bowl was the absolute lowest of the low. 14 pressures, a 26.9% pressure rate, 4 quick pressures inside 2.5 seconds. Every one of them came in true one-on-one situations. So you can't even blame the scheme. I think, it is important to remember that he tore his MCL grade 3 sprain in week 12 against Cincinnati. He did miss 4 games, but before that injury, his pass blocking grade was 76.1 with 5.5% pressure rate. And from week 18 through the playoffs, the pass blocking grade, it went down to 39.2, and the pressure rate nearly doubled to 10.9%. Those are if you were to you didn't know that was Will Campbell, you would think that's 2 completely different players.
Yeah, he was acting like who was a crappy left guard. I'm trying
Vidarian
to
Low.
Yes, he he looked like Vidarian Slow.
Vidarian Slow. No. So anyway, I mean, Vidarian's okay. We shouldn't rank.
Well, he's gone now anyway. But
so it's like, in my opinion, I feel like the January version of Campbell shouldn't be the real version of Campbell. He was a 21-year-old rookie playing on a knee that was 8 weeks removed from a grade 3 MCL against Khalil Mack, Nick Bonito, and
the
Seattle front, which is I'm not excusing his performance, but I'm also not projecting that that's the way it's going to be going forward, even though they will be facing a myriad of difficult defenses. Pittsburgh Broncos,
including Seattle again in the home opener.
Yep.
Kind of insult to injury right there. Yep. So where do you land on him overall? It's the question. Because for me, the strengths are real. He has an elite pass protection floor for his age. The technique, the patience in the sets, the recovery ability, all of it showed up for 13 weeks against competition. He's also tough as hell. The guy came back from the grade 3 MCL in about 6 weeks, while most players take 10, maybe more. And the organization's been very clear about him. Vrabel flat out said he's 22. He's the left tackle for the foreseeable future, which may have killed any move on him to guard talk, for now at least. But if he continues to perform at or around where he did in the playoffs, there should be a larger conversation in the future. I think what we also need to be realistic about is the worry list too, because it's longer than people probably want to admit. The run blocking has to improve. He's got 67.7 grade, 39th among tackles, and that's supposed to be the strength he's brought from LSU. Several penalties is too many for a guy who is supposed to be technically refined. And the biggest one to worry about, he now has real struggles on tape against elite speed rushers like Verse, Mack, Benito, and all the guys in Seattle.
Yep.
All the players you'll see again in January if his team gets back
And
there.
that's a very valid point.
And if they make it to the playoffs, we don't know anything yet. But
of course they will.
If the knee, we'll see. But if the knee really was the reason, then all of this shouldn't matter. If he's not, they drafted a good tackle instead of a great one to pick 4. And his sophomore year should hopefully address these concerns.
I think I agree with your assessment. I definitely think he needs time to mature. He needs time. He has been really working hard this offseason. He's been putting on weight. He's been putting in the work. And I think that, you have to hope that the Campbell of the playoffs is not the real Campbell. Like, you have to hope that he will improve upon the Campbell that he was in the regular season. But what I feel good about is the floor is proven. I feel like even somebody who's like pessimistic would say Campbell is an above average starting left tackle. I think what worries me is that the Patriots, they're betting their entire pass protection on Campbell improving from last year, but they don't really have like a contingency plan in case he doesn't improve or in case postseason Will Campbell is the real Will Campbell.
Yes, I agree. But they do have one contingency, Caleb Lomu. They traded for up 3 picks to get this guy. And his college career is at the same position that Campbell plays. 2-year starter left tackle for Utah. Roughly 90% of his career college snaps came on the blind side. As a redshirt freshman in 2024, he allowed 2 sacks and 17 pressures on 425 pass blocking snaps with the PFF pass blocking grade of 76. Then last year, he took a real jump. No sacks, 8 total pressures on about 380 pass blocking snaps, and 82.1 pass blocking grade, which ranked 28th among more than 600 FBS tackles, and a pressure rate around 2.2%. He was the first team all Big 12, and over the last 5 games of the season, he gave up 1 hurry. So the pass protection is clearly there with this man.
Yeah, I think you're right about the pass protection, but the run blocking is an issue, and it's a major reason why the Patriots see him as a backup tackle this year so he can develop. The hope is that he doesn't even sniff the field this year. So it's like,
fingers crossed.
And not only that, but they're also trying to convert him to the right tackle in case, Morgan Moses can't.
Moses.
That's right, in case something happens to Moses.
Retires.
So his 25 run block grade was 62, which ranked outside the top 200 at the position. His scouting report is pretty clear. He doesn't displace people at the point of attack yet. His core strength is below NFL starting thresholds, and power rushes, they'll just walk right over him. He's 6'6", 313, but he played only 27 college games, and Utah schemes gave its tackles a lot of help. So, like, the plan to have Lomu play swing tackle in 26, while he gets stronger, and then hopefully take over in 27 or whenever Morgan Moses decides to pack it up. I think it's a good plan. And then if everything goes like perfectly perfect, then you won't see Lomu this year at all. And that's, like best case scenario, which we know never happens because there's always injuries in the NFL.
We'll see. But I think this is where I come back around and say this is a criticism of the roster for specifically Campbell. Lomu's presence is low-key the best thing that happened to him for this offseason. Legitimate competition and a real insurance policy at the same position. From a guy whose college pass blocking numbers we are being honest, better than Campbell's were. That pressure didn't exist a year ago, and the backup was Vidarian Lowe. However, behind Lomu, on the left side of the depth goes way down pretty fast. Marcus Bryant, our 6th rounder last year, flashed in the preseason. Then camp bodies like Gutierrez, Metz, those guys. The 6 foot. By the way, Metz is a 6'9" international exempt. He's an IPP guy. Meanwhile, drafted Demetrius Crownover also rounds out the room, another undrafted rookie. So if Moses ends up going down or retires and Campbell can't hold up, there is a huge concern in the tackle position for left and right.
Yes. And to me, that is the biggest weakness of this, one of the biggest weaknesses of the entire line. The depth is concerning, and that's putting it mildly. I mean, poor Ben Brown is like covering 3 different positions, and God forbid anybody goes down.
He'll have to sub in. Yeah, he's like
but if Jared Wilson goes down and he goes in at center, then if somebody else goes down, like the depth it falls off a cliff.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, all right, let's move on to left guard.
Elijah Vera Tucker.
That's right. And I'll just say what everyone's thinking. We don't have any stats to go off of for 2025 because he tore his left tricep in practice week 1 with the Jets. The same year they had voted him captain, and he missed the entire season. And this is his
the Jets.
3rd season-ending injury in 5 years. That's not cool.
What do you expect from a Jet?
Well, he tore his right tricep in 22. He tore his Achilles in 23. He tore his left tricep. Now he's torn both triceps in 25.
Listen, I mean, that's just more about strength and conditioning at MetLife, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, out of a possible 85 career games, he's played less than half, 43.
43, that is
a little bit more than half. That's a 51% availability rate. And as we all know, the best ability is
every ability.
Availability is the best ability. One of these times I'm going to say it, and you're actually going to say what I want you to say. That's a huge concern to me because we all know it. Availability is the best ability. But
that is true.
When he plays, the tape, what he puts on tape, and the numbers that they're elite. If you look at his 2024 numbers, because we don't have 2025 numbers, PFF graded him as the 10th best guard in the NFL that year. God, I'd love to have the 10th best guard in the NFL any year. His pressure rate allowed.
Duran Mayer, strength and conditioning coach, can do his job.
That's right. His pressure rate was 2.8%, 4th lowest among all guards. 15 starts at right guard, about 86% of the Jets' offensive snaps. If you look at what the Patriots guard from left guard last year, Jared Wilson's 49.9 overall grade, 71st out of 81 qualified guards, even at slightly. Okay, maybe you're not going to get what you got in 24, but even a slightly less version of that is going to be a huge upgrade. Oh, here comes my cat. Here he comes. There he is. There goes. That's Edelman. So his versatility is a huge factor. He started 4 out of 5 line positions, 20 games at right guard, 16 games at left guard, 6 at right tackle, 1 at left tackle, everything but center. He's played every method. In an emergency, he could be a right tackle. God forbid something gets happened. Caleb Lomu gets hurt. Who knows? Which matters on a roster with a 35-year-old starter over there if Lomo isn't ready to go.
Yeah. And if you look at his contract, to me, it really shows how the Patriots view the risk. He was signed 3 years, $42 million, $17 million fully guaranteed, but $4.25 million a year comes as per game roster bonuses, roughly $250,000 per game active. There's additional escalators for hitting 85, 90, 95% of the offensive snaps. They're paying him like around top 20 guard only if he's actually on the field, and there's an easy out after the first year. I think that's exactly the right structure. You get an elite guard to play at a discount if he's healthy and a limited exposure if he's not.
That's right. And that's a very Patriot team friendly deal for him. I said, but I feel like one scheme note to point out though, if you're looking for a mauler next to Campbell, he's not a mauler. He just isn't. He's 6'5", he's 308. He has a 32 and an 1/8 inch arms, which is in the 8th percentile for the position. Where he wins, though, is with athleticism, movement skills, and technique, and not necessarily with mass. He generates movement from the point of attack. He can pull and climb, which it fit with what the Patriots want to do in the run game. He says he's close to 100%, which they always say. No one's going to say, oh, I can't play. He was practicing at OTAs and minicamp, so his rehab looks to be like it's on schedule.
Yeah. Let me tell you how I actually feel about the signing, because honestly, I go back and forth. The good is the talent is genuinely top 10 at the position. The contract protects the team. He's 26 at the moment, so he is in decline. He fills the exact spot where the Super Bowl protection broke down. And overall, he adds veteran presence to the left side, which was 2 rookies last year.
And it was
On the other hand, what I worry about is his lingering 3 season-ending injuries in 5 years is not bad luck. It's a pattern.
Oh, rough day, huh?
Yeah, it's a pattern at this point. 2 of them were triceps, 1 on each arm. The third was an Achilles. And playing guard in the NFL. And playing guard in the NFL is essentially a tricep stress 40 times a game. He's also coming off a full year without football. So even a healthy version of him probably needs September to knock out the rust off. And from a roster construction perspective, the Patriots knew all this and still basically built 0 legitimate insurance behind him.
Again, depth.
Yeah, the depth overlaps with center because Ben Brown is the top interior backup and the first man at either guard or center. Caden Wallace, the 2024 third-round tackler, got bumped inside his next. Andrew Rupchich is a veteran journeyman behind them. And then it's undrafted developmental names, Mekhi Butler, Jacob Rizzi, John Darius Morgan, etc., fighting for practice squad spots. So what is their plan at left guard? An elite player with a 51% career availability, and if he goes down, Ben Brown, that's it? For a team that just watched its interior get shredded in the Super Bowl, signing an injury-prone starter and calling the position fixed is definitely a choice. But, in my opinion, the position is the single biggest risk in the roster. Let's move on to center. Sophomore Jared Wilson.
That's right. And I would say, God forbid anything happens to Ben Brown. Somebody needs to wrap that man up in bubble tape or else the whole offensive line is screwed.
Yeah. Now we move on to Jared Wilson, one of 2 Patriots who are guardian caps.
That's right. He does love him a guardian cap. So this position change, I think, to me is interesting because Wilson's rookie year is genuinely, it's hard to grade out. The raw numbers are they're gross. He had a 49.9 overall PFF grade in the regular season, 71st of 81 guards. His run block rate, his grade was 42.8, 75th at the position. He allowed 28 pressures with 4 sacks and 7 hits across 784 regular season snaps. To me, that says, yuck.
Exactly. But I came out of last season more optimistic about them than those numbers seem to suggest for 3 reasons. 1, he was playing out of the position the entire year. He was a center for his time in University of Georgia, second team All-SEC, and he'd taken a total of 93 college snaps at guard before the Patriots gave him the starting left guard job as a rookie third rounder. On the other hand, his center tape wasn't just good, it was great. In his 1 season starting at UGA in 2024, he allowed 5 total pressures, no sacks, 1 hit, 4 hurries, across 511 pass blocking snaps with a 79.6 overall PFF grade. PFF had him at the 98th percentile among draft-eligible centers in pass blocking grades on true pass sets. So the comparison would be 5 pressures in a full SEC season as natural position versus 28 pressures in an NFL season at guard. I know college grades don't translate 1-to-1. SEC interior rushers aren't NFL interior rushers.
No, they are not.
Which is why I think raw pressure counts more than grades. 2, I think about his possible trajectory. From week 11 through the Super Bowl, his pass blocking lead was 73.6. He had an 84.5 pass blocking grade against the Jets in week 11 and an 82% against Buffalo in week 15. In 5 of the final 7 games, he cleared 70 in pass protection, and 3, his relative athletic score is 9.98 out of 10, second best over 600 center prospects measured since 1987. Players built like that tend to figure it out. PFF put him on their all-breakout team in 2026 after his move back to center.
All right, so let's not forget. Bradbury went to Chicago for a 5th-round pick. So clearly the coaching staff felt like moving Wilson to center was a good move. And for me, I feel like, if his natural position is at center, and considering how poorly he did at guard, can it be worse? Probably not. He has quickness out of the stance, range on reach blocks and climbs, processing. And this hides what he lacks, which is raw anchor strength that got him bullied at guard. So his run blocking grade at guard was legit bad. And a lot of it was one-on-one displacement against huge 320-pound three techniques.
Yeah.
At center, he'll work more with combinations. His run blocking at Georgia was graded at around 76, which you could say is like solid, but a clear step below his pass protection. The pre-draft consensus on him was that he was a pass-first center who thrives in space, but needs development as a drive blocker. So what do the Patriots do? They put him at guard, which the job at guard is to drive blocking in a phone booth. He had a 42.8 run blocking grade, and I don't think that his struggles in 2025 should have been a surprise to anyone. Moving him back to me says that the Pats are just trying to match up the player with his scouting report.
So why don't you make a case against it? Because I know you have one.
I do have one. He has never snapped a football in an NFL game. So now you're telling me he is the communication for the whole protection scheme in year 2 after having a subpar year, making the calls, identifying the fronts, snapping the ball to May under center and in the gun. And I would be remiss if I didn't point out that the Super Bowl loss was it was a communication failure all around on the offensive line. Seattle changed blocker assignments post-snap, and the young interior, especially Campbell and Wilson, couldn't figure it out. So you could argue that the Patriots' answer to the problem is to put a second-year player at a brand new position. That's going to be the solution. So there's also a strength question. Nose tackles, head up on centers are a different physical problem than three techniques. And his anchor was the thing that was the problem for him at guard. So if he gets moved off the ball in early downs, the whole run game caves from the middle out. And I'd like to think and hope he is the right long-term answer, or else, like, what are they going to do? They can't keep going back to the well. You're not just getting offensive linemen. They're the hardest positions to fill. I can't even, like, it just frustrates me to think about, like, just the lack of planning that's going into this offensive line. But I think I'd be lying if I didn't say that the center position, it gives me pause. It gives me cause for concern.
Yeah, that's fair. But look who's around him for now. Not another rookie, but he has a veteran on both sides, AVT and Onwenu, instead of being one or two rookies on an island like last year. Onwenu especially can help him with front identification while he learns. And the depth and center is probably most proven on the interior. Ben Brown has center experience. He started games in 2024, and he filled in left guard last year when Wilson missed time with an injury. If the Wilson experiment doesn't work, Brown is a genuine fallback, though it really hurts you for depth at other position on the line. Jacob Rizzi is also the development center behind them. But I think I'll be watching for the first quarter of the season is the first bad shotgun exchange. And how he holds up against the heavy fronts, if he's even averaged by Thanksgiving, I think the move could be seen as a success. Okay, also, there's one more thing working in Wilson's favor that came out of minicamp. The coaching staff spent the spring turning May into his own play caller.
I think
they sent him over the line in a hard situation with no play call at all. His job was to diagnose the defense, set the protections, get everybody lined up, and pick the play himself. Then afterward, he sit with McDaniels and the QB coach and walk through every decision he made. The QB coach, Ashton Grant, said they want to weaponize Drake's mind. They want operators of the offense instead of throwers of the football. And McDaniels is giving him real autonomy to check out the unfavorable looks, which will hopefully cut down on the negative plays that piled up on last year's postseason.
I mean, that is a valid point, but I will say it is, taking if the center doesn't carry the pre-snap load, then it's split, then it's split between him and May, or just all May. And if May is setting the protections himself, then Wilson isn't a 23-year-old first-time center trying to solve an exotic pressure package all by himself. But I will say, like, it's also another point. It's like, okay, so if you're not putting the onus on Wilson to be able to set the protections and snap the ball and do everything, now you're saying, okay, but this is May's first time where you're giving him more responsibility and you're asking him to identify all these things and you're asking him to set the protection. And it's like, It's a point of failure that could come in two different places, as opposed to if you had an established, experienced center who would be able to, step in a pinch if you needed him. And so I think that he's got a quarterback, Wilson's got a quarterback in his second year in the same system, which is a good thing. He's definitely been watching Brady's tapes with Josh McDaniels, and who has, I'm sure, been doing half the diagnosing for him. And obviously, like, doing that in June against air in shorts and shells isn't the same thing as doing it during the regular season. And so we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see what happens. So let's move on to the right guard.
Mike Onwenu.
Onwenu.
Yeah, he was the best player in this line last year by far. He had 78.2 overall PFF grade, 7th among 81 qualified guards. His 78.2 best blocking grade ranked in the top 5 of the position. Run blocking was 74.2, which is 10th among guards. He allowed 21 pressures with just 2 sacks and 1 hit on a team high snap count of more than 1,080. And he was flagged 3 times all year. Oh, and let's not forget that he hadn't missed a start in over 2 seasons.
He is dependable.
Yeah, for me, his last season answered the one lingering question about him, which was whether 2024 season was the beginning of a decline. He had a career worst 65.2 grade in 2024, moving back and forth between right guard and right tackle. Last year was the first time since 2022 he played a single position all season, and he immediately went back to being a top 10 guard. Honestly, when I try to worry about him, when I'm trying to put a worry list for him, I'm mostly reaching. Top on the field, top 5 pass protection, top 10 run blocking, durability, discipline, 3 penalties and 1,100 snaps, and the positional flexibility to play tackle in a true emergency. He's also become the veteran anchor of the whole room now that he's the longest tenured lineman on the roster. But if the Patriots move towards the wide zone, he's less of a weapon than he is in gap and duo, but that's more of a scheme fit.
I think you raised some valid points. He definitely is. He is the most consistent player on that line. But for me, I'm not really concerned about his on-field performance. I'm more concerned about his contract. He restructured to a 1-year, $10 million deal for this year with about $8.95 million guaranteed, and he hits free agency in 2027. So he's playing on an expiring contract. He turns 29 in December, and there is no one that the Patriots are grooming at right guard on this roster to replace him. They got about $7.5 million in cap flexibility out of his structure, but they basically turned one of their most reliable linemen into a rental and didn't draft or sign anyone who projects to replace him. So if he walks next March, the O-line in the guard position goes back to a hole at right guard instead of left guard. And you're just kind of like, you set the team back. So if Onwenu misses time this season, your option is Ben Brown, who, oh my gosh, I guess that means he can't fill in for Jared Wilson. So I guess they can't get hurt at the same time. Yeah. So Ben Brown is sliding over, and that's if he isn't playing center. And Brown has played way more center and left guard. And then you've got Caden Wallace, they just don't seem to like Caden Wallace. He's a converted tackle. He's still learning the position. Vera Tucker's 20 career starts at right guard are probably the most credible right guard insurance on the roster. But then if you move him to right guard, what are you going to do with left guard? So then it's like, in my opinion, if Onwenu misses a lot of time due to injury, the line ceiling drops a full tier, more than any other single injury except for maybe Campbell. Okay. Yeah. So
last but not least, right tackle.
That's right. Let's move on to Morgan Moses at right tackle.
Yes, one of our oldest players in the roster, I think.
He's up there.
Yeah, for me, I feel like Moses might have been the smartest signing of the entire offseason last year relative to cost. Everyone's worried about his age. He failed to hit 800 regular season snaps in either of his 2 prior years. Then he went out at age 34, played all 21 games with 1,032 offensive snaps, second highest total of his career, and finished with a 74.0 overall PFF grade, 28th among 89 qualified tackles. In the Super Bowl, he only gave up 3 pressures, but the left side was absolutely crapping the bed. For Moses, it was a tale of 2 halves of the season. Depending on which grade you look at, the run blocking was legit awesome. 77.1 grade, 17th among all tackles, and a big part of why the Patriots leaned on the ground game last year, late in the year, during those back-to-back 175-plus yard rushing performances in the playoffs. Pass protection was more mess, 69.8 grade, 43rd the position with 29 total pressures allowed. But only one of them became a sack with 5 hits. His feet lose to speed more than they used to. But his hands, angles, and 13 years of knowing where the help is invaluable. The 8 penalties did bother me, though. I'm not going to lie. That led the starting 5, and a few of them killed drives.
Yes, I agree with everything you said. His veteran leadership and presence, it's invaluable. It's so important, especially when the left side of the line is so the left and center are so young. He recruited Vera Tucker to New England. They overlapped with the Jets, and Vera Tucker said that he talked to Moses, and that factored into his decision to sign with the Patriots. So if you're looking at a starting line with a 22-year-old, a 23-year-old first-time center, and a guy coming off a season where he didn't even play at all, having a pro in his 13th year at right tackle is huge. He's still a plus run blocker. He protects the quarterback. He stayed on the field for every single game, and he's a culture setter for the young room. Though I will say he turned 35 in March, and as we all know, 35-year-old tackles can just fall off a cliff without any warning. So we have no idea. It's about when, not if, he's going to fall off a cliff, because eventually it's going to happen. So it's obvious that the Pats know it's an option for Moses, because this is the one position where there's actually a specific succession plan at the position. And of course, we're talking about Caleb Lomu. So he was drafted with the specific intention of backing up both tackle spots in 26, but to take over right tackle in 27, even though he's a natural left tackle, because why wouldn't we want a right tackle at right tackle? And we can have a left tackle at right tackle. So he barely played on the right side in college. 32 career snaps at right tackle against more than 1,500 on the left. But what about if Moses hits the wall mid-season? Then we have to go to a player the Patriots were hoping to redshirt this year, and his run blocking grade is 62, and his anchor gets stressed by power. So through OTAs and minicamp, Lomu ran with the first offensive line at right tackle while Moses' workload was managed. He basically didn't do much of anything. Lomu also kept taking left tackle reps with the second unit and even took some snaps at left guard, which was kind of cool. It's interesting that the Pats appear to be cross-training him at 3 spots, even before he's played a single down. And still, again, if I can't stress enough, the plan is for him not to play at all. So behind Lomu, the fourth tackle is an open camp battle between James Hudson III, signed to a 1-year deal, 5 seasons and 20 career starts. Marcus Bryant, the second-year 6th-rounder. And, my money is probably on Hudson for the experience and versatility, but there is a developmental argument to go with Bryant over Hudson. And for me, I think right tackle is probably the most stable spot on the line for 2026. And at most other positions, the gap between starter and backup is like a chasm. I don't know. It's not that bad, I guess, at right tackle. So, all right, let's come back around.
Did they actually fix it?
Our one question. Have the Patriots done enough to address the offensive line? Because that's what the whole offseason was about. So what do you think?
Yeah. I think, honestly, no. Improved on paper, but fixed? Yeah, it improved on paper, but fixed? I don't think so, no. Let's break down what they're counting on with basically no backup plan. They're counting on AVT, who has missed more career games than he's played, to stay healthy for the first time in 4 years. They're counting on Wilson to be good at a position he's never played a professional snap at. They're counting on Campbell's January being entirely about his knee. And that's 3 separate problems by themselves that would be problematic. But we need the Patriots to hit on all 3 all season.
Yes, that is a huge ask. And I would add that we also need Moses not to fall off a cliff, not to go into decline. And we need Onwenu to continue playing at an all-pro level in a contract year with nobody behind him. So really, you'd say that's 5 things that have to go right for an entire season.
Yes. And I mean, that's not just talking about pass protection. Bring in the good Redden game, and it's worse. You need Vera Tucker's run blocking, which was really good in 2024. But he hasn't been seen on the field since then. You need Wilson escaping the one-on-one drive blocks that exposed him, and you need Gilling to make a huge impact at fullback. I don't think these ads are unreasonable, but they don't have anyone whose primary job is moving people off the ball. And the 2 best run blockers on this roster Our 35-year-old nearing the end of his career and a guy on an expiring contract. This team hasn't been able to run the ball down probably since 2021. And if defenses do to stack the box and dare them run, I can't say anything. I just saw the spring. And yes, I do know it's just will make a difference.
Yes, I can't say anything I saw this spring. And yes, I do know that it was just the spring and it doesn't mean much of anything, but I don't think anything we've seen so far or anything they've put together so far will make any kind of a difference. Every move they made was either a projection or a deferral. Vera Tucker is a projection of someone who could be healthy at left guard. Wilson at center is a projection of someone who could fit on the pro level as a center. He's meant to be a 2027 answer. They spent their first round pick on a player who is who they don't want to play this season. So that's kind of like a wasted pick. I mean, I get it. You want to develop him, and that's fine. And meanwhile, the two proven veterans they have are on expiring or near expiring deals. And they certainly didn't add a single established, healthy, in his prime starter. And they had those in the guard market. There was Siamalo, David Edwards, guys with recent full seasons of quality left side experience. But instead of picking somebody like that, they chose a higher ceiling, higher risks option in Vera Tucker. And I don't think you can call the position fixed when the fix has a 51% career availability rate.
Yes, but the Vera Tucker contract costs them almost nothing if he can't play the per game bonuses, and the year one out means the downside is minimal. Lomo at pick 20 was probably the best pure pass protector on the board, and drafting your 2027 right tackle a year early is exactly what good teams do. Kansas City and Philly have been drafting linemen before the hole opens for a decade. And then Wilson could really work. His tape at Georgia and his athletic profile all say this is a good move individually. I have to say that I like this kind of like every move that they made, yeah.
Well, it's not that I don't like the moves that they've made. It's just like the overall failure in the Super Bowl by the O-line wasn't about a lack of talent. It was that when Seattle got exotic, the interior couldn't communicate. The left tackle couldn't win one-on-ones. And so now this year you want a first-time center making the calls and a left guard who hasn't played football in a year with the same left tackle. Like when you say it all out, it kind of sounds a little crazy. Like the three positions that had the most problems and cost the team the most in the Super Bowl, and now the three positions there are the ones with the most uncertainty. And if and when that exact same pressure package shows up early in the season, because let's be honest, every team at this point has looked at that Super Bowl tape and it knows they think they have the answer. And I can't say that I don't think right now the answer to that problem is on the roster.
Okay, so I think the ceiling might be it's a top 5 O-line. On one who is already elite, Moses is still good, and if the three projections hit, Campbell, Vera Tucker, and Wilson, and then the Patriots have a young athletic left side that can go and improve together for years. But the floor is, I think it's lower than last year. Last year's line had 5 established stars and finished top 10. This year, the line is more talent, but a much wider gap between its best case and its worst case scenarios. It could be a top 5 unit, or it could unravel and just go down the toilet. And that kind of uncertainty is exactly what it gets punched by defenses like Denver, Pittsburgh, the Chargers, and Buffalo. So I'd say I did think they didn't enough to raise the ceiling, but not enough to raise the floor.
I mean, that's fair. I'd say get back to me after week 6. By then, Vera Tucker either has 6 games under his belt or he does not. Wilson either looks like an NFL center or he does not. Campbell either has seen a speed rusher and won or he has not.
And what if they don't?
Well, if they don't, then the depth or lack thereof, it becomes a major storyline and problem of the 2026 season. I mean, we're talking Ben Brown, who is the backup at 3 positions, and another backup in Lomu that is a rookie who isn't supposedly they don't think is ready and they hope doesn't even play. I think saying like, we made a smarter bet and we fixed it are 2 different things, but only one of them is true right now. And I think we will know by the end of the first quarter of the season if the line is good enough. But if any part, or God forbid, more than one part fails, then I think we are in for a long season of pain. So in the
Again.
end, do we think that the Patriots did enough to address the offensive line? We
Yes
say
and no.
we
Yes
say
and no.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think they did.
Okay.
Whew,
All right,
my
and that
goodness.
is the one question. Yeah.
That is the one question. And you know that after the one question comes
The 101.
the 101. That's right. All right. Well,
today what we're talking about is what is offsides in soccer?
I know nobody seems to know what it is, but we're going to try to
Yeah.
help you out here. So we are barreling our way through the quarterfinals and on to the semifinals of the World Cup. So we thought no better time than now to talk about what the hell is offsides. There is nothing more
Yes.
frustrating than seeing your favorite team scoring an amazing goal just to have it disallowed because it was offsides. So what is offsides anyway?
That's a good question. To answer
It is a
it,
good question.
offsides is simply a rule to stop players from cherry picking or hanging out right next to the opposing team's goal, waiting for a pass. Similar to in basketball, if you just stand under the basket and wait to be passed the ball. You're only offside if you're only offside if you're in the opponent's half of the field and closer to the goal line than both the ball and the second to last defender when a teammate passes it. Think of the defending team's second to last opponent as creating an invisible moving line. The goalkeeper is usually the very last person at the back, so you just really have to stay behind the last outfield defender. Onside or safe means you're level with or behind the last defender. The exact second the ball is kicked to you. If you're offside, you're staying past the last defender and the ball is passed forward to you. Offside is judged at the exact moment the ball is passed, not when you receive it. If you time your run perfectly and you're behind the defender when your teammate kicks the ball, you can run ahead and safely receive it. You can get caught offside if the referee sees all three of these things happen at once. You're in the opponent's half of the field. You're closer to the opponent's goal line than the ball and the second to last defender. Or the ball is passed to you and you become active by touching the ball, blocking the goalie's view, stopping a defender from getting to the ball. But you cannot be called offside if you're on your own half of the field when the ball is passed. You receive the ball directly from a throw-in, corner, or goal kick. You are running back and the ball is passed backward or sideways to you. You're behind the ball when it's passed, and the ball was last touched by an opponent or a defender rather than your teammate.
All right.
And
that hopefully now you know what on earth offsides is. So the next time you see somebody score an awesome goal and then the flag goes up and they go whee and it's offsides,
and they wave the flag.
That's right, and you'll know exactly.
Yeah, that is. And that
all right,
is
and now we've come to the best part of the show, the final freeform.
The final freeform. Yeah.
All right. Well,
so
what are we going to talk about this week?
How my trip is going and went. I think it's been really fun. I got to see a lot of cool animals. And tomorrow I'm wrapping up my trip in Seattle, doing a sightseeing day. So I think I'm going to have fun. I think the best animal I saw is the marmots, which are like groundhogs, kind of. Those are kind of my favorite. So, yeah, I think it was a really fun trip, and I would definitely recommend going to the Northwest in the foreseeable future if you ever go. Yeah.
So, what are you going to do in Seattle?
Check out the Space Needle and go to the aquarium. Check out the Pike Place Fish Market and go to the world's first Starbucks.
Very cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. And then why don't you tell everybody how you're going to get home?
I'm taking the Empire Builder from Seattle all the way to Chicago. It's going to be 2 days of traveling on the train.
2 days of You couldn't pay me enough money to be trapped on a train for 2 days. So, but it is kind of it's got a dining car. It's got a really cool lounge car with like a domed.
And you travel through like a bunch of states in Glacier National Park.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it goes right through Glacier National Park. Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin and Illinois.
All right. Well, that sounds pretty cool. And we hope that you have a fun and safe trip and don't die of boredom on the train.
Thank you.
All right. All right. So that's going to do it for this week's episode. Tune in as always. Oh, I almost forgot the most important thing.
Yes.
Make sure you follow us. TikTok, X, Instagram,
etc.
Every possible place that you can follow us at Clutch Mode Pod. And we will see you next time.
Yep.